So I'd like to welcome all of you here to the Payson City Council meeting, May 1st, 2024, and the time, as I stated, is 6 o'clock. I'd like to start our meeting today with a prayer, and Ken Phillips will take care of that for us.
Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day, for the circumstances which allow us to be here. We're grateful for the beautiful weather which we've had. We're thankful for this beautiful country and valley which we have to live in, and this town which we call Payson our home. We pray for our city officers. We're grateful for them, how they lead and guide our community. We ask you to bless them and continue to guide them as they lead and serve our community here in Payson. For the opportunity to be here this night in our city council meeting, we pray that the proceedings as they will take place be according to thy will and the desire of our city officials. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. We'll proceed with the pledge. Colleen Wilson will lead us in that.
I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go on to seek the consent agenda. Number one, approval of the April 11th, 2024 joint work session. Approval of the April 17th, 2024 city council minutes. Proclamation of Police Week. Number 4, proclamation National Public Works Week. Number 5, proclamation EMS Week. And also number 6, proclamation. The last one, number 7, resolution police disposition of evidence / property. Council, unless there's any discussion on those items, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, do you have a? Yes.
Actually, I know Chief's not here, but could I get some clarification on line item 7? What are we changing there? And you do that yearly, or, because I know that
it's a number of firearms that were confiscated in crimes and or given away by owners of the guns and stuff that don't want, our family members that don't want them anymore. And so under federal law and state law, we have to follow a certain procedure. That's first, take it here and have you guys make it disposable at that point. Then once it is, he has found what's called a federal firearms licensee. That person will take possession of the guns and then basically it's on a consignment issue. He will try to sell them and then we will get the profits minus a charge. But we will get those profits, and I know Brad's talked to Kathy and maybe training, or we'll talk to Kathy and set up some sort of account to put those in. But other than that, if you have any other questions, I can try to answer them.
all right, that's great. Thank you, Jason.
The police does it every year annually, but if the evidence room gets full and if they cases finally get terminated, then they look and see what it is.
Okay, thank you. Other than us running out of weeks, it all looks okay.
Mayor, I motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote starting with Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Yes. Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to D, petitions. Cities that CTC Mayor's Youth Award. Shelby, you ready?
When your name is called, please come up and introduce yourself by saying your name, grade, and favorite subject in school. From Payson Junior High, we have Diego Zelaya. His teacher, oh,
Diego, come on up and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Diego Zleo. I'm in ninth grade and my favorite subject is math.
his teacher shared with us how he greets everyone around him with a smile daily, radiating happiness and warmth. His kindness knows no bounds. He goes out of his way to ensure every student feels welcomed and included. Diego's contributions don't stop there. His commitment to excellence is truly admirable. He gives his all daily, constantly striving to do his best. His willingness to participate actively in class discussions and to ask questions enriches everyone's learning experience. His dedication as a student at Payson Junior High inspires everyone. From Payson High School, we have Alex Risenmay. I'll read it. Alex is such a great asset to Payson High School. Not only is he a great student at the high school, but he is also extremely involved in the fine arts department. He's in choir, orchestra, and he's involved in the drama department. This month, the drama department is putting on the musical, The Music Man, and Alex has been very involved in the production. Mr. White, the drama teacher, said, Alex Risenmay has been an exceptional member of the Music Man on the stage crew. He has put in more time on set design and special effects for the production that is truly magical.
Okay, thanks, Chris. We're gonna take a picture of you and then they'll shake hands. Yep, right on the way. Everybody got a picture? Who wants one? Okay, thank you. Great program, Shelby. Thank you for what you do. Okay, we'll go on to number 2. Public forum, anyone can speak on something that's not on the agenda. And please try to be cognizant of your time. So we'll go ahead and open that. Come on out.
I'm Eileen Miller. I'm with the Utah Valley Home Builders Association, and I just came to announce to you that we are having our Parade of Homes this year, June 6th through the 22nd. I brought tickets for the mayor. And we just welcome everybody out. We have 33 gorgeous homes this year. Payson has an entry this year. And the focus is on the south end of Utah County this year. So it's kind of fun to have so many entries here. But I'm here to listen to the impact facilities issue. You knew I'd be here.
Yes.
Well, they were kind enough to direct me where to read the IFA and the IFP. So anyway, I have tickets for the mayor and I'll let you distribute them.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, not seeing anyone else wanting to come up. Kim, anybody online? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public forum and we'll move on to number 3, staff reports. Come on up, Jean.
Mayor and Council, I just wanted to talk about Arbor Day for just a second. We held Arbor Day, included the Spring Lake 5th grade. We planted 3 trees and then served cookies and punch, and it was really fun. Wes did a great job being the arborist, so he Kids asked a lot of great questions, and I think we learned a lot. This Friday is Cinco de Mayo, sorry. Raise your hands if you're going. Everyone. Hired.
Putting it in my phone.
There you go. This Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. I would love to see each of you there. There's so much time that's put into these events. And so hard if you come. It means a lot when I see you there. 5 to 9, 5 to 7 is kind of more casual and that, so most of the entertainment will start at 7. So we'd love to see you there. Then the next weekend is the Pay It Forward Challenge. Just a little bit, I'm gonna talk as slow as I can, so it drives Travis absolutely crazy. I'm just kidding. Pay It Forward Challenge. So this is the 16th year. This started before I came in, and I honestly didn't know what the Pay It Forward Challenge was. So I guess back in the day, I just learned this at one of our meetings, conferences we went to. So the cities were encouraged to do something to pay it forward to the community. And so they decided to do this challenge, a 5K or 1 mile. Just charge people $1. So it could be their first experience at a race or a walk or, so I knew to advertise it at the elementary schools in Santa Clara and in Payson. Each year I get around 300 people. But since I didn't really know what it was about, when I'm looking at it and I didn't know that, I thought, well, nobody's paying it forward. I didn't realize we were, I just charged $1. So now I kind of changed that a little bit. So I just want you to be aware of that. So when the people come, it's a $1 donation, and they come, and then with that dollar, they receive a medal, a t-shirt that's donated by Morris Quilting, a granola bar, and a water, and then they receive a gift card from a business here in Payson and Santa Clara. And so they're supposed to wear their medal, their shirt, and go to that business, like for instance, if it's Ace, and they go find someone who's already shopping there, and they pay it forward. So it's really fun. So anyway, so we pay it forward twice. Anyway, so Cinco de Mayo is this Friday.
And the location on
Pay
that.
It Forward is at Memorial Park, and that's on Saturday at 8:30 in the morning. And I always need help. I mean, we have all those people coming in, and I need to pass out shirts and medals and water bottles. So even just come. I would love to help.
Location for Cinco de Mayo.
Is at the amphitheater at the Petite Meet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Mayor and council and public. I wanted to introduce Anna Stopper, who is our new senior center manager. She took the place of Tammy Evans, and so we're happy to have her. She'll do a brief introduction, not more than 30 or 40 minutes, and we'll go from there.
I'm a talker, so if you've given me that much time. Yeah, so my name is Anna Stopper. I started here April 3rd. Super excited to be here. I had a great month with the seniors. Tammy, she will be missed, but I'm still getting her to come to the events with us, so that's been really fun. I have a degree in exercise science and recreation administration, and will actually be getting my master's in management in 2 weeks. So after this meeting, I'm going straight to go do some homework, but I have had such a great time working with the rec department and with Carl, and look forward to just getting to know the seniors better, going on some more field trips and having some fun with them. So thank you.
And where were you raised and where do you live?
I currently live in Provo. My husband's a Provo fireman, and so we're currently up there. I'm originally from Phoenix, so love the heat, hate the cold. Don't know how I ended up here, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
You'll like it half the year.
Half the year. I'm starting to like it right now. Perfect weather.
Thank your husband for your service, Bridget.
Thank you. I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, and we've invited her to move in anywhere down here. That would be great too. We'd welcome you.
As long as the economy works out in my favor, I'll be down.
A couple other updates. Over the last 2 weeks, we've had some elementary school track meets, invitationals, and that's been great. We had 10 elementary schools coming each day. Around 800 kids each day to run events, and that was really good. We did one yesterday for our conclusion. Third graders, the new ones who don't know where to go or what to do. That's a lot of fun. Also, last night our youth soccer program ended. Our oldest division still playing tournament We also started our co-ed softball adult league last night. And you'll notice over the next few weeks, our youth baseball and softball programs will start playing their games and moving forward that way. And of course, track and field's going. We'll have another meet this Saturday with our youth track program that we're doing. And so that's good. And we're gearing up for Adventure Day for our community, which is June 1st. And so we met again today to pinpoint and fine tune a little more of the activities. And so we'll continue to do that. So thank you. Any questions?
How are we advertising that?
The Adventure Day?
Yes.
We plan the same directions. We've got the billboard. We'll hopefully do everything on our webpage. It'll be loaded that direction. We also have an email database in the Recreation Department, usually several thousand emails that we'll email out that direction. Trying to get the word out that way, Brian. Yeah.
City newsletter and Facebook.
I was gonna ask if you put it in.
We talked about that today. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Oh, Jill, we don't see what's in there now.
Better be good news. If it's good news.
Just build up my time. No, I want to let the city council know and the public know that we have scheduled our public open house for the Payson Station area plan. So I know the council knows what that is, but for the benefit of the public, for the last year, a little over a year, we've been working with several key stakeholders, with UTA, with UDOT, with a lot of different agencies to master plan a community around the future front runner station in Payson. So it's near the Payson, the North Main interchange. There's going to be an expanded interchange there, the Payson Station area plan. Many of you may know that UVU has purchased some property in that same area. And so again, we've been working on this planning effort for quite some time in order to provide the vision and for direction of how we are going to build around those future transportation facilities that will be coming to our community at some point in the future. And so we are nearing the end of this process, and we want to make sure that the community stays engaged in this process and come to the open house, gather more information. We still want input in order for us to refine the plan, but we're hoping that by July we will have a decision by the city council. So there's still a lot of work to do over this next couple of months, but did want to take the opportunity to let everybody know that the open house will be on May 22nd. So it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday evening from 5 to 7, and it will be in the banquet hall. And so that's open to everyone. We will also have, there is another consultant team that is working on the front runner south extension line. So the Provo to Payson, they're doing the environmental and some preliminary design for that extension south. They will also be in attendance at this open house and provide information about that study that's occurring. So we will get very specific information about the area in Payson, but you'll all be able to gather some information from UTA on their future plans to bring it from Provo. Timeline, ridership, corridor, all that information you should be able to gather at that meeting.
Just like the, I'm just going to confirm what you said, that Joe, we really do need the public input. We'd really like to see how you feel about what has been discussed and but come on now.
So as you might have seen on our different marquees all through town, we had our National Drug Take Back Day event on this past Saturday. And we were able to collect 254 pounds of prescription drugs. And so compared to when we had this event in October, we only collected 80 pounds then. So this is significantly more. And so it's really great to get all of that in a safe place. So it got sent up to the DEA Saturday afternoon and they incinerated it there. Another thing that I want to make you all aware of, our Communities That Care Coalition, South County Cares, is going to be hosting a naloxone or Narcan training that we're offering to all the city employees and council members, if you want to come, on May 14th at 8:30 a.m. We don't have a room quite solidified yet, so I'll let you know which room.
What time was it again?
8:30 a.m. And if you're unaware of the naloxone or Narcan, people know about either one. It's the drug that will reverse the effects of an opioid overdose. And so it's really great just to have in your first aid kit, at home, just in your car, just to be safe and just a preventative measure. So,
We
Currently distributed at the library.
and we currently distribute at the library. And if you come to the training, you get a free nasal Narcan to take with you. That has 2 doses in it, so.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shelby.
Any other staff? Not seeing anyone, we'll go ahead and move to council reports. Starting with council.
I don't think I have much today, Mayor. Everything's looking good. It's good to see the sun. Glad we had the water. Looked like there was a lot of it in that last storm. Hopefully that helps our watershed. Are we doing good, Travis? Did we get all that we needed?
All the snow's down. The snow outside.
So if we didn't get it, it's too late. There's no more coming. Okay, good.
I just have a few things, so, one is, I think I underdressed here, so I have to step it up. The other thing, I'd just like to thank that with all these weeks coming up, the police, the fire, and Public Works for all the good jobs they do. They just do an excellent job in this city, and it's the best city in Utah, and it's because of our employees. We did receive a $50,000 grant from the outdoor recreation, for our Utah tourism, for doing a feasibility study for an indoor rodeo arena. And it should make the mayor really happy to be able to finally get to study that. So, what was that? I need to, but the mayor's.
People out there who ride horses. I don't ride horses, but there's a lot of people that do.
Right.
Does the study include a location, or we already picked that out? Or?
That'd be part of the study, is try to look at locations and things like that. That's all I had. Thank you.
I want to thank the Parks Department this time of year. It's extra busy, and I'm grateful for all they do. The lawns and the parks are looking great. We got the shade put up at the playground, which I'm always grateful for. My kids frequent that. And all of the new concrete down at Memorial Park looks excellent as well. And I want to thank you.
Might mention that's because of the park tax too, as well, that's coming up. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. And also thanks to all those that helped out with the Bacon to Payson effort. That was monumental. And I want to give a shout out to the Payson High School kids that made that a reality. And I was so grateful to see that it was mostly high school kids there. It was so great. And to see them building kits, and thank you to Chief Spencer and to Chief Bishop for providing such wonderful emergency services for us so we can hold events like that and not worry. And I'm just grateful to all the city employees. And I also want to make a plug that Shelby and I are getting a city youth council up and running, and she's putting finishing touches on that. We're gonna get some flyers and get the applications out there. So
Application's open.
application is open. Excellent. For City Youth Council that will start in when are we gonna start applying, Shelby? August?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. So this would be a great chance for any youth in the city to be more engaged in politics and learn a lot more about what government does. So I'm excited for that. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
First and foremost, I want to thank the fire department and the police department. They've been super busy in the last couple of weeks, and they're doing an excellent job making sure that we're all safe and well watched over. I'm always grateful to them. I'm excited to meet Anna. I am the city council rep for the senior citizens, so anything you need, let me know. And, I think that's about it. Just as always, thanks to our city staff. They do an amazing job. We can really rely on them for anything we need. Thanks.
We don't want everything, and I sure appreciate how fast they're going on Main Street. Looks good, it looks really weird about how all those trees go, you look up the time, they're all gone, but I know it's gonna look nice, yeah, it looks like it.
It'll look even better.
I know.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead, make the petitions, go to E action items. Number one, resolution, Parks, Arts, Rec, and Culture, Park Tax Committee, recommendations on funding, Kenny. You're up. Appreciate what you do.
So Mayor and Council and public, as part of the Park Committee, my name is Kenton Phillips. There's 5 individuals that are on the committee that have a voting responsibility to then propose this to the City Council. And I'd like to just read their names briefly and recognize them. It's a 2-year term, and then you resubmit your entrance or your application to be able to be on the Park Committee, and that comes through the Recreation Department and the council to appoint you to that. Devin Weaver, Colleen Wilson, Richard Fillerup, myself, Kenton Phillips, and Kim Bennett. And so we meet once a year, and we go over all of the applications, submissions for the park tax funding. Park stands for Park, Arts, Recreation, and Culture. And so the park funding or the tax comes from various forms of revenue that's brought into the city through a tax. And various groups, organizations, you have to be a 501c3 to be able to receive funding from that, and we'll go through that in just a second. And so we meet once a year. We go through those, we determine how much to allocate based off of the funding. We'll talk about that. You'll see all of this live and transparency. You'll be able to see how we come up with the amounts and the discussion that we have from that. But before we do that, going back to Bacon to Payson, and if you've ever seen the movie Footloose, and you've seen it numerous times, and you always see the places that are really hit in the movie, the different parts of Payson. One of the places that really doesn't get focused on is actually right here in this chamber. And so the council is, Kevin Bacon went to the council to propose the dance right here in these chambers. And so that doesn't get hit upon very often. So it was kind of fun to relive that moment in time as well.
Real quickly too, it hasn't changed since 1980.
No, I think it's still the same carpet, the same chairs, not the same people.
We got them in the back.
Yeah, but the background's still the same. Lighting's probably a little bit better.
I think it's pretty much the same.
But that's okay, right? We go on with nostalgia. So anyway, you can kind of see the different estimated park funds available, 408,000. There is a 10% contingency from previous years of not used, the fund that still continues to build. If it's used, not used, just kind of continues to grow or deplenish whatever goes on there. The mini grants that we're going to talk about of the different organizations, the 501c3 groups, consist of a total amount of 20% of the total fund available, 81,600, and then 70% of that comes also from parks and recreation projects, 285,600. In this, Councilman Rowley also talked about the concrete being done down on Memorial Park. That was part of the parks funding this last year. And so numerous things that are done around the city come from the park fund. And so we were also talking what we want to do as well as we propose these, we also want to recognize that, publish it so that the citizens of Payson know where this funding is coming from, what it's being utilized for. And when you're walking in Memorial Park and you see the nice concrete, or you see the pickleball courts, or you see the different things that's going on in the city, you can recognize and know where all that's coming from. So a lot of things get taken for granted. You might not notice it. And so we also need to acknowledge that. So we can go to the next slide.
Changed on my screen.
It's frozen. There we go. Okay, that might be hard for you to see, but we'll go through these. And if you have any questions as to what things are, I'll try and explain these as best as we can on the left side. So the mini grant applicants is on the left in the red, and then the amount requested is what the group or individuals requested, and the amount proposed is what we as the park committee propose that they be awarded and then approved by you as the council. So again, it's proposed by the committee and then approved by the city council. So first of all, we have the Utah Live Concerts, and they are requesting $5,000 for their event expenses. The Utah Live Concerts are the ones who come to Memorial Park. They do those live concerts. They're kind of a rock band concert group, and they do those in the park, and they want $5,000. And we propose that we give that the total $5,000. Your eyes are probably skimming faster than I'm speaking, and so obviously you can see down at the bottom the total requested versus the total amount approved. That can be approved as these mini grants is obviously a lot more than that could be given out, and so we had to cut some of that, and we'll talk about that as we go. Halfpenny Youth Theater. The theater performs at Petite Neat. They perform here and other places, but they're requesting theater head microphones so that they use along their head instead of having to hold the microphones or handhelds or whatever. They request $5,000. We propose to give them $3,150, just based on the amount of time that they are there in Petite Neat and the allotment that we felt we wanted to give them something, but we didn't want to give them the full amount to help other groups as well. So $3,150 there. Payson Civic Corral, they're requesting $4,200 for a joint concert with the Nebo Philharmonic to be able to support them, help them, and that's a concert that they're doing this year. They requested $4,200, and we propose to give them that $4,200. If at any time you want to stop me, please go ahead and stop me. People Preserving Petite Neat, they propose $17,250 to replace the structure of the northwest garden, the west fencing, and also tables. So coming up First North, 100 North, along the side, they want to replace the P, different things in that garden, the northwest side of the road, right there at the Petite Neat. Also, the west fencing on the west side needs to be replaced, and then some tables inside, not outdoor tables, inside tables. The tables are probably as old as the wood on this in these chambers. So they want some new tables. I think there were 18 that they were requesting. 20, so give or take.
I might mention too, if you allow, the lights along that 100 North were another park project that really enhances the local.
Yeah, correct. And then also the reader board, if you're going along Petite Neat, the reader board, the digital reader board that they have out there right on the corner, that came from park committee, park tax funding years previous.
As well as the fountain pumps.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're requesting $17,250, and again, we propose to help do that, to fund that, because to beautify and help support the Petite Neat area. Moving on, Payson Community Theater. This they requested $12,000, and they want to use that for performance expenses. They were pretty informational about that. However, they were late in their application. We received that the next day. However, they were late. And so that is up to the council to approve, to increase or whatever. We propose to give them $6,000. Regardless that they were late, we chose to give them something, but we didn't want to give them the full amount. Hewish Performing Arts, down there on going around the bend, right on Utah Avenue. They were requesting $52,400. Obviously, you can see that that would take up 3/4 of the amount being able to be allotted. And so they want that to begin phase 2 for a pitch deck, insurance, and also fire suspension. Suppression, excuse me. Yep, your eyes are better than my mouth. Thank you. So obviously in that, there is a lot that goes on with Hewish. The last few years, we've actually gone down on a site inspection as a committee to actually see what's being done down there, to visualize and see what support we can give them. So we are proposing 25,000 of that 52.4 to give to them. Payson Scottish Festival is now in their 40th anniversary year. This year, they're requesting 6,000 for event expenses to be able to have different functions and different event groups coming to perform for the 40th anniversary, and we propose that 6,000 be given to them. Payson Scottish Festival, going back, started here in 1983-84, a vision that Jerry Chatwin, Catherine Pierce, and others had to be able to provide the only free Scottish Festival event west of the Mississippi. And today it is still the only free entrance for the public to attend, where there's no charge to get into the Scottish Festival, and it is a huge event each year. We're grateful to have that. So we propose to give them the $6,000 of that. Payson City Band, they perform every Sunday night, concerts in the park, starting this year, January 30th, going all the way to Labor Day. And they are requesting an acoustic sound barrier to help the percussion section with the trombone section. That's just an acrylic barrier. You've seen those in other places. And then also different, a new xylophone, music, some clips for to hold the music down when the wind blows. Payson City Band is requesting 5,000, and we propose to give them the 5,000.
Just so you know, council and public, it's 121 years.
I think we're 122.
22 years.
122 years of concerts in the park. Payson City Library story. It comes from the story walk. That's a story walk at Spring Lake, proposed from the Payson City Library. They proposed 10,000 to be able to do a interactive story walk at Spring Lake, where you can walk around and see different functions of how animals grow, where mountains come from, why there's no more snow in Payson Canyon, whatever that may be, right? But a visual walking story that people can go to take their family. They're requesting 10,000, and we propose to give them that 10,000. Obviously, down the bottom, the request is 111,850, and we're proposing to give 81,600. Of course, there is that contingency amount, and there's also extra funding. That is it, Kathy? That Kathy said there is extra funding. She didn't tell us how much there was. She said there is plenty. And so that is up to the council if you want to increase, decrease, whatever you'd like to do there. But that is our request for the mini grant applications.
I'd like to just add, as a non-voting member, I was there, and Brian was also there, and I can attest to how these things are discussed and are they're very, very thoughtful in their appreciate what you do.
Thank you. So do you want to vote, or do you want to continue on?
And I'll ask the council for
Correct. You do it all together. So no voting until,
okay.
So you have to, I might need about 3 of those water bottles in a second. Moving on to the city, I'm just kidding. I don't need a water bottle. I'm just fine. Moving on to the city projects, obviously down at the bottom, request is 391,620. And you'll obviously see the amount down below. We'll go through those. These are things that come from the various projects going on in the city. Obviously, we've talked about some of those previous. The Recreation Department is requesting $25,000 to do trail repairs near the Maples. Things that need to be done. The trail needs to be fixed, widened, improved, $25,000, and we're proposing to continue to do that. The Recreation Department is also requesting tiny robot painters. These, instead of people using the spray cans and the little machine to go out, there's actually little robots, little Pac-Man that go out and spray that digitally. You can use it from your phone. They're requesting $33,620, and we're proposing to put that on hold for this year. And the Rec Department kindly agreed to that. The Rec Department's also requesting safety netting at Hillman Fields. That is between, if I remember right, the softball fields and the soccer fields. Out in the outfield where foul balls can go and tag people, pedestrian spectators, whatever, and also move over into the field of play for the soccer field. They're requesting $17,000 to put up netting, and we propose to give them that $17,000. They're also requesting playground at Hillman Fields. This is up on the top of the Hillman Fields, $180,000 to build a nice, durable, long-standing playground at Hillman Field that will last, be able to give the little ones places to play and be protected while their older family members or whoever may be up there playing. $180,000.
What's the longevity on those? You say a long time.
Well, the last one was 20 years, so.
I can do 20 years.
And it is replacing the older one.
Yeah.
And the range we talked about too was up to 400.
So 20 years, your kids, if you have kids, they probably will be gone, but I may be gone in 20 years, but hopefully not. 180,000 requested and 180 proposed, same amount. They're also requesting $24,000 for a Mini X purchase. We received a grant for half of that, and now due to that grant, they are requesting the other half to be able to purchase a Mini X. If you know what a Mini X, some people don't, so I'll kind of tell you, it's a little tractor with a little claw that digs. It's much easier than using a backhoe. You can get in a lot closer quarters, and I think the mechanics the equipment operators who use those like using a Mini X a lot better than a backhoe. And so that is for the Rec Department to use. And even when Mayor Wright talks about the detailedness that we talk about, we even go in depth of where you're going to store this, and who's going to use it, and who else can use it, all that kind of stuff. So we really kind of fine-tooth comb it of why we are approving these or proposing these. $24,000 to be matched with a grant that was given for a Mini X purchase.
So this Mini X is for 4 bays, so it's a small one, is to help build trails and maintain trails up there.
Thank you for clarifying that, Mayor Hewlett. Oh, excuse me, my fault. My apologies, Councilman Hewlett. You know, I speak a lot in public places. I can make a fool out of myself a lot, and so obviously you can see how easy that is to do that right there. This next one, I don't remember who actually proposed this.
I did, and you can see how much influence I had on this.
Councilman Hewlett. Councilman Hewlett, I just wanted to clarify that that's who it was. Wanted to see who was gonna speak up to see why it was not approved or proposed, excuse me. Memorial Park, Councilman Hewlett would like to add sound system that's already existing in the downtown Payson Main Street area and include a sound system to go up into Memorial Park, sound system that would have music playing, different times of the year, you could have different announcements going on. $20,000 to add that sound system up into Memorial Park area, and we are proposing to hold off on that. Again, as we talked about this, you as the council and mayor have the right to add that or decline it as well. Petite Neat is also part of the city, and so the city would like to paint the exterior of Petite Neat, the wood, enhance that, beautify it, needs to be painted. It's not been done for a number of years, and so they're requesting $67,000 to be able to do that, and we're proposing to give that to beautify Petite Neat. We feel that's a vital area of town, and to do it now, we even talked about, can you do half of it now and half of it next year? But we chose to propose all of it this year and get it done. Bay, the planning committee is also requesting to add a bike skills park. They're requesting 15,000. We feel that's a good area to do, so we're proposing 15,000 for that as well. And then the Latino Festival, they actually fall underneath the city. They don't have their own 501c3, so they fall under the city's 501c3 organization, or their organization of that. They're requesting $5,000. Part of that goes to the Cinco de Mayo, which is actually Sunday, but the event is Friday on the 3rd, just to make sure that everybody knows when Cinco de Mayo is. And so they're proposing that the event get $5,000 for that one, and then also in September they have a Nations Festival in September. So those events would be able to be funded for that. They have porta potties that they need. They have people that come in for performances and other things that they need to be able to supply for that. So they're requesting $5,000. We propose to give that $5,000. A total of $391,620 requested, and obviously the amount is $333,000 using park fund balance. Anything that needs to be utilized in that. So again, Kathy says there's plenty of money to be able to do that with. So that's the proposals of the city projects.
Just a couple of things on that, for the trail repairs, here's the Maples, that's Dry Creek Trail, and also the Bay Trail planning. Those are a part of outdoor recreation grants too, so we're applying for like 150,000 on both those to help offset those two.
Again, I jumped a little bit, but we do appreciate how methodically you go through this money. It's taxpayers' money, but it's taxpayers' money. We can see a real change in our city. So really a good funding source. Okay, council, unless there's other questions that have not been asked, I'm ready for a motion.
It's paying taxes. This almost makes it worth it. Right, I mean, as you see, like you said, Mayor, to be able to see the improvements to our city and things that our residents use every day. And this looks excellent. I love how everything was gone through with a sharp pencil and looked at.
So can I say something? Do we have extra? Thank you. Oh, you're usually back there.
I took her seat.
So basically how it works is we take your revenue.
She walks up, when is this up for
It's about 2 years.
Is it 2 years?
I thought it was
Yeah.
2. Is it 3?
I think it's 3 years, but we didn't start awarding it until we had the money in the bank, so it will end, but we'll still have 1 more year to do that. But in order to continue this, we have to go back to the vote of people. And so that's why we want to get the word out of what projects we've done and show the public how good, so hopefully we can continue that for another 10 years.
Well, and that's why I brought it up, is because I think it is really a great program, and I'd hate to see it.
A lot of this money comes from sales tax stuff, so it's not all Payson residents are paying tax. It's people that shop at Walmart, other people from out of town that help.
It's up in 2 years.
It is 2 years. We voted for it in 2016.
Yeah. So it would be when the mayoral elections when it would be on the ballot.
So basically the budget that we give the committee is the current year's revenue. So for so they spend the current year's revenue in the following year. So we always lag behind fund balance 1 year. So next year we're gonna earn revenue, it'll be allocated the following year. So when you go up for election, we'll still have one more year's revenue to allocate. Does that make sense? So if you had to or you wanted to borrow some of that, you could, but that's what we've done is we've kind of allocated the current year's revenue.
It could limit what we would have to award in a coming year.
Correct.
When I was just looking at the sound system, I know that sounds like something maybe we don't need, but it would sure be nice to go up into Memorial Park and be able for everybody to hear what's being talked. Like everybody would hear it because you're up there for all these different things going on. And only maybe a quarter of you hear what's going on. And if we could have that sound system where everybody in the whole park could hear it, that would be awesome. And it would be great down there, especially what we're doing down there on Main Street. I mean, what we're trying to do, you could run music down there, that's just awesome. And I know I don't like to spend money, but I think that is something maybe we should consider because.
And we talked about that as we.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry to interject. If Brian may be able to answer that a little bit better. I'm not quite sure that is what that is used for. Because that was one of my questions about that. Brian, can you kind of give us a little bit more information of what that sound system is used for?
Yeah, it could be used for that. It's not a sound system like if we have a concert or anything like that, or even for onion days or salmon supper when we have bands or singers. It's not for that, but it could be set up so you could use a speaker and, like you said, when you need to make an announcement, instead of making it over that PA system, you make it over the whole park. So it could be used for that also.
And one of the things that we talked about is, if you have a lost child at some of those, it would broadcast it over the whole park. So that's one of the things that we talked about.
But it's more specifically designed to provide music and sound all the way up through town. So music,
But
announcements.
also like if we were having big parties down
You
there,
could.
like we talked about,
You could.
then people would know what's going on because the sound system would tell them, right?
You could.
Well, no, not just at the stage, but then we want to do it downtown
Right.
too, so that if we're having these big parties that, all these outdoor things that we're planning on, then people know they're gonna hear what's going on instead of talking to you and go, what did somebody just say?
Yeah, one thing the mayor brought up is when they did Crash and they have that in the park, you could have, music in the park
Yeah,
where
that would be
you
nice.
can't now.
But again, one of the big reasons we obviously, we need to try and cut the money somewhere, right? And it wouldn't be the best interest of us just to say, yeah, let's award everything. And then where are we gonna come up with all the money? So again, that's up to the council to change that and do what you want.
And if you'd like to do that, if you want to make that part of your motion.
I kind of look at it seems like in the past, the park tax has had, something will come up and it won't pan out, that we allocated money for the bathrooms. And it was so far off the spectrum that we had to scrap the whole thing and that money was reallocated somewhere. I would love to see that Memorial Park sound system is the #1 contingent. If something else falls through, if the recreation department, the Hillman Field, thing comes in $20,000 less, that's where we kick that money and then just put it as our #1 contingent. And so if we come under budget, great, we're gonna run with it.
Which happens sometimes.
And it does happen. I mean, I've been here long enough I've seen it. Sometimes it's a lot of money and it's really frustrating, but.
And that's how we got the lights and the pumps.
Yeah.
Up at the TV.
It's because it was leftover money because we couldn't afford what we really wanted. So I think that would be a great, but if we can we put that directly into our motion? Is the #1 contingent? Okay, would you like me to do that?
If we're ready for
Anybody else have
motion.
anything to say?
I just don't know where else we cut to make that part of the tentative budget right now, but I love the idea of making it as the first contingency. It would be a valuable system.
Yeah, and I do compliment the committee because they really did research into the rates of these and make sure that they could use this money the best way.
Well, and to their side, they don't know everything that we discussed, so you guys have done awesome.
city, and so, no, this is really awesome. I'm glad you have been there though, because if you hadn't been there, I would have been aware.
Council Christensen, you want to make?
All right, I make a motion that we approve the Parks, Art, Recreation, and Culture Tax Committee's recommendation on funding projects, including the Memorial Park sound system as contingent number 1, if there's excess funding in the budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, have a motion and seconded, roll call vote starting with Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Moss,
Yes.
Council Rowley,
Yes.
Council Hewitt,
it. Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll move on to, resolution appointment of new, full-weight committee member. Not really a new one, but, one that we're thankful that we can have back on the committee. Would like to present the name of Darcy Trotter as, a member of that committee again. Would like to thank Kerry Pierce, who we will be replacing. Kerry has, moved to another community. And so he left an opening there. Yeah, and Darcy has been there before, and he's got a wealth of experience and knowledge, so I'm more than happy to submit his name to council for that.
Mayor, I move that we approve the appointment of new 4-Bay committee member Darcy Trotter.
I'll second that.
And Darcy is here, so thank you for being here, Darcy, very, very much. Appreciate what you do.
You little wife.
So, was there a motion? Is there a second?
I seconded that.
Okay. Again, roll call vote, Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewitt,
Yes.
Council Rowley,
Yes.
Council Moss,
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Thank you.
And to the Trotters, thank you so much for all of the work you do up at 4-Bay. You've made it a better place and continue to improve it. So thank you so much. It does not go unnoticed by so many people. Thank you for your care.
So, yeah, I just want to thank the Trotters, and it's going to be a good addition to our 4-Bay committee, but also for Kerry, for all he's done. I know he's going to stay involved, but since he moved out of the community and our bylaws said it has to be somebody in the community, I said, well, let's change the bylaws, but he's just done a lot for us, and that's why 4-Bay's there and with the
Park Committee, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to number 3. Resolution, review and adoption of fiscal year 2024-2025 tentative budget and set public hearings. Kathy?
So just as a reminder, tentative budget is a statutory event, meaning we present to you our shot at the budget. It's not the end budget. You still have time to make changes if there's something you don't like, and I can tell you that at every final budget, there's always some changes that we have to make, and we can anticipate now some that we see there's been some promotions and stuff, we have to adjust some wages and some information that's still coming in. Okay, the first thing we want to discuss is the insurance renewal. So our general liability estimate is $419,107. So they tell us there's no increase in that, but they haven't given us an actual quote. So that'll be coming in. That will be one of the final adjustments when they give us the final amount. Workers' comp estimate is $141,588. Again, they haven't given us the final quote. When that does come in, that's going to shift all the budgets because we allocate workers' comp based on payroll, the payroll sites in each department. Health insurance came in at a 6.2% increase, and dental was a 4.7% increase this year.
Do we have a way of negotiating and getting that down?
Well, they have a factor that they look back so many years and see our usage, and then they kind of estimate what it will be.
But the answer is, yeah, we can do that. We can actually go out and shop for other medical providers. done that in the past, but we have
I know we try and support Payson Hospital.
yeah, that's one of the reasons we stuck with that, because the insurance that is there, the hospital, but yeah, usually we try to work with them, negotiate with them. We have a helps look at all of our benefits, and they'll go out on the market and do some analysis for us. We've been pretty happy with PEHP as premium insurance. Yeah, we could go out and shop.
And one thing I should mention is, as we go on, this is just high level overview. The detail is in the budget document that I gave. It would be quite impressive. We had to go through everything. So one of the things we did is we added a 4.5% adjustment to individual wages. And there was some part-time wages that weren't meeting midpoint, so we brought those up. We've given department heads mostly what they wanted in their operational budgets. Most department heads have requested a conservative budget. The only changes basically we made to the operational budget is if we look back and see that they haven't utilized like natural gas, that's going up. So we up some budgets, and some utilities aren't being utilized. So it's not like that. It's not necessarily requests of the department heads. It's just some overuse or underuse of budgets. We've made some small changes.
I have a question too. Okay. Wages. When we compare our wages, do we compare them to similar cities with similar economic? Who do we compare with?
Melanie actually does the salary surveys, and she works with an individual. Do you want to discuss with?
We do a survey of pretty much all municipalities along the Wasatch Front. Dashboard, Santa Quinn, Orem, Sandy, we compare with most offices.
You look at like population, things like that, you use a variety of everything.
We match the job description with duties. When we do surveys, we like power. When we shop power, we have to pull like Logan, St. George, Provo.
There's not many power stations.
Any other questions?
So, as we've discussed before, we had independent rate analysis done on the power rates. What's being suggested is a 5.5% increase for the next 4 years to provide for the new electrical plant operations, the SGBPS bonding obligations. Yeah, so that actually the power revenue is a little bit lower than we had anticipated, but we did add the 5.5% on in addition to that in the budget. So that's what you see in the budget. The water fund, some highlights. The 4-bay bond. Years ago, the 4-bay bond was paid out of the water fund. And I think it has something to do with the snow table or snow reserve or something like that. We started paying for that out of the general fund. So we transferred money to the water fund to cover the 4-bay bond now. We're making a payment to the CUP infrastructure improvements. And there's several enterprise funds that pay for this. This is the last year of a 4-year payment project for that. We got a CDBG grant for 500 south and 100 west of 500 west. We're putting in the Patterson pump station. We're upgrading the SCADA system and security cameras. The Salem City Interconnect is in there, and the Red Bridge well. So we're paying for that over 5 years out of water impact fees. They've requested to replace their miniacs They're saying that they can get quite significant amounts on resale on that. So they're expecting to be able to sell the old one for 70,000 and buy the new one for 90,000. Then there's 1,700 feet of 24-inch pipe up Payson Canyon that we're putting in there. So this is an overview of the water fund. It's an $8.7 million fund. You can kind of see the revenue allocation there. On the expenditure side, one of the things, it went down significantly. And one of the reasons why, if you look under improvements other than building, and you remember that we transferred in the current budget year, the remaining ARPA funds over to the water fund. And we're using those this year. That's why there's a significant dip in that budget. Impact fees. Again, we're doing a couple projects out of the water fund. This year, we're expending $1.4 million of surplus, and that's a significant portion of fund reserve out of the impact fees. Here's the projects that we've got scheduled out of the water fund. The truck, we did not fund that because there is another one already in the revolving loan fund. And the full-time water lead, we did not fund because we gave them a full-time position last year. So the solid waste, they asked for a garbage truck lease and a truck driver. And this is an overview of the solid waste budget. It's a $4.2 million budget. Sorry, probably went too far. So some of the things to point out, this year and a little bit next year, we're finishing off the new scale house and the new scale system. The revolving loan fund is always high in the solid waste because they've got such large equipment. They've got the compactor, they've got just oodles of big equipment. So that's why that budget is generally high. So again, the garbage truck lease and the full-time driver, electric power. So a couple of years ago, the electric department added in a line truck. It's just coming in this coming year, but they found that they could not fund it through the electric fund. We're trying to save up some money in that department, so we're funding that through the revolving loan fund. Some of the large capital projects scheduled, the transmission line, that's mostly through impact fees. The SUVPS participation in bonding, the power plant, the 650 West 800 South distribution circuit, and lighting projects. So here's the budget for the electric power fund on the revenue side of it. And again, that includes a 5.5% increase in revenue. We're planning on bringing that forward in June, the first meeting in June, the utility increase. Yeah. So one of the things I want to point out here is for the power plant, we're planning on funding that through UAPs. Right now, I show the principal payments coming separately, but because I'm not sure how that's going to be billed. When we do the financials, that might be moved up into operational expenses. I'm not sure how that's going to come through, but I just wanted to point that out if you don't see that in the future. And the impact fee power project, the big thing in there is the transmission line. And here's the requested and the funded items for the power department. The SUVPS transmission cost of 15%, $650,000. That is because only 85% is qualifiable through the impact fees. And Sean believes that's a 2-year project. So we're going to fund that in the future, try and get through this year. The sewer department, highlights, again, the CUP project last year, the sewer plant construction. That's a $46 million budget this year. The big thing, of course, is the improvements of improvements other than buildings, and that's going to be the construction of the plant and the sewer impact fees. So the sewer impact fee projects is the I-15 East off-ramp trunk line and the 1/5 of the allocation of the Red Bridge reimbursement. They requested 2 part-time collection helpers, and we felt like maybe it would be prudent to wait till the plant's complete and let's see what, the personnel that they actually need in the plant and how to allocate that. The ambulance. So the major source of expenditures in the ambulance is operational expenses, mainly personnel. The ambulance service has been enhanced by the paramedic program and they continue to grow that program. An ambulance was ordered last year, I believe, 2 years ago, and should be received in the next couple of years. So right now they are paying in advance through the revolving loan fund for that ambulance. And here is the budget. It's a $1.5 million budget. And they requested a second new ambulance, but we really don't have the bandwidth right now to pay for 2 ambulances. So we're going to get the first one taken care of and then look at the second one. The golf fund. Some of the highlights, they asked for an entrance gate, a people moving cart, a top dresser wheel grinder, deck chairs and tables, and the golf fund has a $2 million budget. It has those expenditures in there. They're doing great. They do really well. So there's those expenditures. The storm drain. Again, the CVP project, citywide curb and gutter, $300,000. Box culvert ground project, $2 million. In this comparison of year-to-year revenues, you'll see the $2 million grant funding that hasn't come in yet. So we just rolled that over to next year. And again, that's going to be the big improvement project for the storm drain. And here's a breakdown. The Loafer View storm drain pond and injection well, we're going to move that to 2026 just to help with use of fund reserves.
I'd love to see where that citywide curb and gutter is being actually done. I know it was budgeted that annually and I don't know that I can tell you where it's been fixed. So. Matt, every year telling us what they've done, move forward.
Do we know, Mr. Engineer?
I believe this next year it's for the library parking lot. Is that correct? The curb and gutter?
No, there's another budget for that.
That's coming out of the general.
I know Kent's got me working on a bid for 100 North from SR 198 to 6th West to take out some of the deep ditch and rebuild the road there and do some sidewalk improvements. I think we could use it. Yeah.
That's I think that's what we wanted to plan. And I would love to see it maybe used towards new sidewalk too that isn't ever gonna get done too, as well as replacing and fixing.
We could get you what's been
yeah.
give you a report.
Okay, thank you.
Here's the storm drain fund, $4 million. And again, a lot of that is the big box culvert projects. Looks like I put that backwards, sorry. There's expenditures and revenues. The highlights, boy, I really got that messed up. Am I going backwards? Oh, boy. Okay, let's try internal service funds. So the 2 internal service funds are the vehicle maintenance and the IT. And the theory behind this is that all the departments that use these services pay in on a proportionate share that they use to these funds to support and pay for these funds. The IT doesn't ask for a lot of large equipment, but vehicle maintenance this year asked for a large lift for ambulance and large trucks and service truck equipment. So they have a used service truck, but they don't have any equipment on it. So they wanted to get that put on. The revolving loan fund. Here's the revolving loan fund. We're using quite a bit of it. Again, we're using some fund reserves. This includes the ambulance and the fire truck and a lot of, here's kind of a breakdown of the new loans that we're going to be issuing. Again, the roll-off bin for the truck, for the sewer, we're waiting till the project is complete. And the 10-wheeler for the sewer, we're going to wait till that project's complete also.
Going forward, have we raised the interest rates that we charge the different departments on the revolving loan fund?
I have not. I've charged 3.5%.
If we, if we want to be fair, we might want to look at that.
One theory is though that it does help, so we're not paying outside interest.
Right, but I'm just thinking, having to take so much from general fund to, you know, the allocations from like the electric department, as they paid it this way, then we don't have.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. So the park tax fund, I think this was discussed in some, you know, in great detail. So there's an overview that we just reviewed of the park tax that's funded right now, the general fund. So this is kind of the biggie. We have steady sales tax right now. What we're seeing in talking to other finance directors in the county is up north, they're having declining sales tax. So we're hoping that ours is not going to start declining, that it's going to stay steady and strong. We have decreasing building permits. We know that there's projects that's been approved, and hopefully when they start getting their occupancy, we can start getting some more permit money coming in for that. We budgeted for a roof repair on 40 South Main, carpet in the banquet hall, various planning studies, increased animal shelter fees. That's just a broad overview. Here is the revenue sources, the major revenue sources of the general fund. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think it's 6 line items are separate funds that roll into the general fund. So when you see the audit and the financial statements, you'll see all these funds rolled into the general fund, even though technically they are separate funds. And the expenditures, this is by department, so you can see all the departments in the city. Here's an overview of the requested and funded for all the projects that roll into the general fund: building maintenance, fire, grounds, justice court. The brush truck and fire we did not fund this year, but I think we rolled over the Polaris. We gave him his equipment, and we still have the fire truck in there. So I'll just let you look at that for a minute. The property for the police department, I think we already talked about this. The police department would like to start getting property and start earmarking some property for the future police station, but they're not quite sure where it needs to go. So we've talked about that. The playground equipment there, originally it was $250,000, and I think we funded $180,000 through the park tax. And here's the balance of the funds. The senior bus, I said pending grant, but I understand that we might be able to get, we have a good chance of getting that grant.
We'll let you know as soon as we know.
And the restroom at the petite meet, we did not fund this year just because the cost just keeps going up and up and up. The personnel, we funded the assistant city manager. Planning requested a couple positions, but we did not fund those at this time. Transfers and indirect costs. And again, transfer indirect costs, as I explained, comes from the use of all the departments, and it's allocated based on use, including departments in the general fund. So for the general fund, it can be attorney services, planning services, administrative services, payroll, accounting, anything that the enterprise fund would otherwise have to go out and hire externally. So we allocate that out. And then, of course, vehicle maintenance and information technology. Interfund transfers are transfers that come directly from the enterprise funds to support the general fund. Traditionally, we've done 9% on the enterprise funds. However, this year we're doing 5% in electric fund to help prop up that fund a little bit until we can get that going pretty good. The general fund also transfers fund to the PCT, the electric, to pay for the bond over there, the Utopia bond. The general fund transfers to the water for the bond over there, and the CDBG is going to be the facade program.
Right, what is the CD?
Community Development Block Grant. So redevelopment agencies, we have 2 redevelopment agencies in the city. We don't use them, we don't generate taxes through them anymore, but we still have the funds and we still use them for development purposes. The redevelopment town RDA we use to fund the economic incentive program for Walgreens. And that's, I think, due to expire in 2028. I believe, that's my memory. And the redevelopment business park, this year, we've got makerspace in there, and also we've obligated to sell some property and put it back into that RDA to help with economic purposes. Again, there's just a reminder, if you make a motion on the tentative budget tonight, you have to motion to set the date, time, and place for the final budget, transfers, salary increases, hearings, budget adoption, and certified tax rate. And the current certified tax rate is 0.001149. If you choose to hold it June 18th, it will have to be on a special meeting. If you choose not to go through truth and taxation in August, June 19th is a holiday. We can still hold it on a holiday if you choose, or we can move it to August 7th. We've let the county know that we want to reserve the option of going August 7th to hold our truth and taxation, and we'll hold these other hearings and our budget adoption at the same time.
It's our regular scheduled meeting. It's now a federal state holiday, the Juneteenth. It's been a couple of years, so that question, whether we honor that as a holiday, not have our meeting, we would have to do it. It comes down to the council wants to do a truth taxation hearing. If they don't, if we don't do a truth taxation hearing, we have to adopt the budget by the end of June, so we need to have the hearing in June. If we opt to do a truth taxation hearing, I know there was some discussion whether we keep the certified tax rate the same as this year. We would have to have a hearing, we have until August to do that. So we hold the hearing in August, we finalize our budget in August. So it just depends on what the council wants to do as far as they want to hold a truth and taxation hearing that maybe keeping that tax rate the same, or if you want to increase it or whatever. But that's kind of the decision we need to make when we adopt the budget.
It's not one we need to make right now, but one we don't.
We do
Right
have,
now.
yeah.
I would, my 2 cents worth, I would encourage council to go ahead and do a truth and taxation, mainly because of what can happen, the interest rates that we can get a favorable interest rate. Bond prices. That by itself, pretty good motivating.
I agree with you, Mayor, and another thing, just gives us a little flexibility, doesn't mean we have to raise them at that time, but it gives us some flexibility to look at it, and we can see what happens next 3 or 4 months.
And I would love to look at what we've raised it the last 2 or 3 years and actually put that out there as our notice, because sometimes we say, oh, yeah, we're gonna raise it, we're gonna shoot for, we always put a high number out there because we can go less, and I think sometimes it gives us the appearance to the public that we're always raising the taxes. So if we're only gonna raise them 3 to 5%, let's put that as our truth and taxation hearing, rather than shoot for the stars. I mean, we can throw a couple of percentage points in there for a buffer, but
We don't have to do that, but we.
yeah,
The reason you have to, when the notice goes out to the county, you have to put what the most you would consider increasing.
right.
And so that's why sometimes you put that, even though you may not want to do that, but if you put the notice out saying, we're just gonna keep the certified tax rate the same, we can give you a estimated number of what that would be. We still don't have from the county what the new certified tax rates will be if we do nothing. They don't get it to us till June.
So we don't have to put a percentage on it, we can just,
You still do.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't know what rate they're gonna give us, so we don't know what to tell you it would be the percentage.
so that's the tricky part of it all.
And
And
we don't
that's,
get some of that information till June, but if you put.
this is the epitome of the cart before the horse. Been the burr under my saddle, this is all horse talk here, but, so what percentage would we be looking at? I mean,
If we kept it the same.
yeah. Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
but we need to come up with a percentage now, so as we,
You don't need the percentage now, we just need the time, date, and place. If you want to consider it in August,
Okay.
you just say we want to consider.
so we don't have to assign the percentage
No.
right now.
It's just when we publish, after we get the CTR.
Okay.
And we have to send notice out.
Does that make any sense to anyone?
So if we do the truth and taxation thing, do we have to have a meeting on August 7th, or can we go to the 21st?
If we want to adopt what the county gives us, we can do it, well, any of the dates, but we can do it in June. If you want to consider a truth in taxation, raising it or keeping it the
Keeping
same,
it.
we'd have to do it in August.
It's usually that first week in August. Utah County gets all the cities that are planning on doing that. They try to do it on different nights so that people can the various needs. But when we sent notice to the county that we may consider that, we recommended the 7th. That's our normal council meeting.
It gives us a substantial rate reduction.
There's a possibility that the county could say, no, we have a hearing schedule that you've got to do it on a different day, but usually they accommodate when we have our normal.
Well, the 21st is our next one in August too, so.
So you're gonna be gone on the 7th, is that it? August,
I'm just wondering.
The thing I'd have to look at, Kathy, you know how, when the final budget has to be approved in August? We can check that, because if it's September 1st, we could probably do that on the 2nd.
We generally send out a letter to the county as part of the budget process and have the mayor sign off that we may consider a truth in taxation just so we can get slotted, because sometimes it gets hard to find a date.
I just want to make sure that we're not rushed into decisions. We do everything that we need to do to make sure this budget is the wisest.
I will be out of town on August 21st if we push it back, but.
I may be gone on August 7th.
I don't want to talk about August, that's when we
Right.
have factors.
I just don't want to be rushed. I want to make sure that we're being extremely wise.
And that's the reason for putting off the official.
That's usually why we err in the direction of doing the truth in taxation, is so that we can make sure that everything's there and
I agree.
budget properly.
Any other discussion? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion for to adopt the resolutions 2024. Tentative budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tentative budget for the 24-25 year and set a tentative hearing date of August 7th for truth and taxation.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion been seconded, Council Hyatt?
Yes.
Council Moss?
Yes.
Council Rowley?
Yes.
Council Hill? Yes. And Council Christensen?
Yes.
Thank you, carries. Going on to number 5. Public hearing / ordinance update to the impact fee facilities plan and impact fee of knowledge power supply, transmission and distribution. David Shaw.
Mayor, I was just gonna say that there is an item on the agenda for a public hearing for the amendments to the budget.
Yeah, okay.
Just, we're just proposing that we cancel that. We were gonna appropriate that $2 million that we received for grant money for the Main Street. But the contractor's not gonna do that till the next budget year, so we don't need to hold the hearing. We'll just put it in this budget that we just adopted for tentative for next budget year.
So when will the work hopefully be completed?
Well, they're gonna start, the contractor's gonna start in the spring, so it'll probably be somewhere February, hopefully be done by not June. It's kind of a similar time frame to here, but probably quicker because it's just the street.
Second south to 8 south, is that what we're talking?
Right now it's over the third.
Third and fifth south.
And they'll keep their bid the same that they already did.
Yeah, it's just 2 blocks. If we can find some other funding, which we've been applying for some other grant money, hopefully we get the whole street done.
Sorry, I should have brought it up.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to make sure that's the grass.
So we spent, I think it was last council meeting, the work session talking about the impact fee analysis and impact fee facilities plan. I'd just like to say a couple things and then I'll introduce Mark. We haven't had this done since 2014. So if you think about the changes that have happened in Payson since that time, as far as growth in the system and things of that nature, there's been a lot happening with population and businesses. and those kind of things. Also, the background has changed a lot as far as the adoption of electric vehicles, the installation of a lot of solar systems, things of that nature that have made it very difficult for us to plan and install the equipment we need. Based off of those prices, the prices back then and now, you're probably 2 to 3 times more for every piece of equipment we buy. The lead times, we're looking at 4 years for some transformers and substations right now, or 2 years for ones on homes. We're always trying to be ahead or buy a little when we see them and that to try and keep ahead, but a lot of the cities now are trading back and forth and are out. So it's getting very difficult to pay for and do what we need to do to support the growth. And other thing is like when Kathy was showing the budget, we talked about that transmission line we need to do. That's gonna be paid for with impact fees, but it's what impact fees have been collected in the past, not off of this new change that we're making. And really we're at 120% on some of our substations, 2 of them during the summers right now. And so it's a pretty scary situation for us working in the power department, and we really can't grow on that southeast bench without that. And so we're in need of money, and when we had this analyzed, it was pretty stark seeing what's happening to our system. With that, we are gonna have Mark, I guess, talk about the system or about the financial aspects to that. And the whole idea of the impact fee is to just have those who join the system pay for what they cost, in essence. And so just keep that in mind. And so I don't know if you're on, Mark, if Mark and Jill, they work for UFS. I was really excited to see that they were hired to analyze Payson's numbers, because I'd always wanted to use them when I was working in the past city I worked at. And we did ours a little differently sometimes. And I went to some classes with them that they taught back at the American Public Power Association conferences and down in San Antonio. And it was just a great class. It's good to see behind the curtains of how complex it is to come up with some of these numbers, to try and figure out and attribute the proper amounts to growth or to people or to rates, how different users use power, and trying to attribute those rates correctly and not have cross subsidization going on between different rate classes and things. So Mark, are you on there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know if what you want to say or if the council wants to ask questions. You went through that presentation.
I think it might be good if I just do just a brief overview of what I discussed last time, if that's okay.
Yeah,
for the public. So, all right, can I share my screen if that'll be okay?
Yep.
Okay. I think you saw this screen last time, but we took the engineering study that was completed, and actually this is, I got the wrong table up. We're projecting that over the next 6 years, the engineering study said that we'll be expending about $77 million in new capital expenditures for the electric system. A lot of that's to accommodate growth, and we assumed a little over a 3% growth rate annually. Utah as a state is a state that's been growing quite extensively. And a lot of the places that we're doing work for is having to add a lot of new infrastructure to accommodate the growth. And as part of the engineering study that was completed, of that $77 million of expenditures, about 41 million is because of the growth. So what we were doing is to try to recover the costs associated with that $41 million capital expenditures from new customers. And because some of that amount is going to be funded through bonds, debt issuances, um, the actual amount that were projected that will need to be recovered from new customers is almost $19 million. So when we looked at the additional cost and the projected growth in the system, the impact fees to be recovered per residential equivalent customer is about $4,600 per resident. Now, the other thing that we're doing as part of this study is to try to modify our impact fee schedules to make them consistent for all users. Right now, they're somewhat inconsistent, so we're also making them consistent for residential with a 200 amp service, a 100 amp service, a 800 amp service, and the same thing with commercial and industrial. So these are the impact fees that we have proposed. For each, it's based upon the amperage of the service and the voltage level. But the most residentials have about a 200 amp service today. And so the new homeowners would pay about $4,600 for their electric service to get it connected. We also, this is a comparison between your current impact fees and what we're proposing. And it's basically about a doubling of the impact fees. Like a 200 amp service, you're currently charging a little over 2,000. That will go up to about 4,600. So the residential and the small commercial impact fees will be going up. But when the large and commercial accounts, the three-phase accounts, they'll be coming down, and that's for consistency reasons, to make it consistent based on their amperage and voltage and their potential impact on the system itself. So the residential and small commercial will be going up, and the larger services, the three-phase, will be coming down. We did a statewide average or survey. Your rates are comparable, the impact fees are comparable to communities that have recently reviewed and updated their impact fee analysis. It's overall, if you look at, I think we looked at like 8 different communities. You're a little bit higher in most cases, excuse me, than the statewide average. But a lot of that's driven because of the growth and because some communities haven't updated their impact fees in several years. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to help answer any question. Excuse me.
Okay, at this point, Sean, are you ready for me to open the public? Okay, we'll go ahead and I'll accept the motion for the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, some instructions for the public hearing. Please step to the mic, state your name and address, and speak clearly if you would, and please be cognizant of your time. I'd like to give you the opportunity to express your views, but please be cognizant.
Eileen Miller with the Utah Valley Home Builders Vineyard. I'm sure that most of you are aware of the Supreme Court decision that just came down about impact fees, which was Sheets versus El Dorado County in California. And Utah, fortunately, has always kind of been out ahead of the game. One of the conclusions in the decision by the Supreme Court was that impact fees have to be proportionality, and you have to show a nexus between the impact fee and the project. And I'm kind of happy to report that Utah's ahead of the game. We've kind of always practiced that. I noticed when I read the IFFP and the IFA, it is very complex. And it would take an engineering degree pretty much to decipher it. But on its face, I can tell you that the growth is coming this way. And it's from the building perspective, of course. People want to live in Utah County. The jobs are here, and so we can't build facilities fast enough. I mean, housing facilities, whether it's multiple family units or across the board, the single family dwellings. So in the current economic conditions that we have, to double it is a bit of a bite. But one of the things that we have put out for study is to not wait so long between your analysis reports, so that you don't have your big jumps, because that causes so much for the builder. I mean, he goes out and he gets a loan, and he has to include the impact fees in that loan. So who gets to pay it? Consumer. You want to know why we don't have affordable housing? This is one of the biggest traumas that we have in our industry. So there's one city in our county that I hold up as a hallmark. They have an in-house person who keeps and updates their impact fees across the board every year. And then they turn those numbers over to the outside engineering firm, which is required by the impact fee code. And they go over them. And of course, it's much less because basically it's just checking to make sure that it's real. But the advantage to that is that the city always knows where they're at. And a builder, if they're going to buy some property, they get a really true idea of what it's going to cost to do business in Payson. So that's just a suggestion to follow maybe one of your sister cities that does that every year and not wait so long between, so there's not such big increases all at once.
And you've been here and proposed that before, and
Yeah.
I think that's what we're trying to do.
Well, we'd like to see it across the board, but I'm not a person that likes micromanagement. I don't like state down, but it would be nice if each city would do it on their own.
It'd probably make financial sense for us to do it more often, because we've probably been losing out on the last 4 or 5 years of impact fees that we could have been collecting.
It's advantage to both sides, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to take advantage of the public hearing? Anybody online? We'll go ahead and accept the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion that's been seconded. All in favor, say yes or aye.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any further council discussion?
Because I still trying to capture the vision of raising it so much on the residential side and actually lowering it on the heavy commercial side. I know that long term they will bring in more revenue, but I just wish that was split a little more equally, because I hate to disincentivize home builders and also just to put that crunch to home buyers as well.
Sean, you got any answers for us on that?
I'm not sure. Did you want to say something, Mark, or you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
The reason that,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, the reason that occurred is I'm not sure how the study was done in the past, but there was inconsistencies in the impact fee charges, and they weren't based on the size of the service. And it was in a sense undercharging the residential customers and pushing it off to the larger customers, the three-phase customers. So what we did here was we made it consistent based upon the amperage and the size of each service. So if somebody takes on a 200 amp service at 120, 240, whether they're residential, commercial, or industrial, they're all gonna be charged the same rate for that service. Now, a three-phase service is going to take a higher amperage and higher voltage. So that will basically charge them more, but the methodology that was determined, it's all consistent. Based on that size. I hope that helped answer it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, with regards to that impact fee, do we allow the manufacturers to pay that over a period of time, or does it all have to be paid at the same time?
It's paid at the same time.
We have on the bigger industrial, like, Payson, put in a new machine, the impact fee is really high, and we allow it in our ordinance to pay.
That's what I was.
I haven't experienced that yet. I haven't been here long enough to.
It's just for that big category of the industrial, the bigger category. We have allowed that and help them to get paid.
Get their feet underneath.
Yeah, it's interesting because residential, they use a lot of power in the summer with AC. Almost the whole system's based off AC demand. And that's what we're seeing with the power plants too. It's AC that creates, I mean, we're really low power users right now. And even in the winter, we're the same about 9 months. And then you get the summer and you're doubling your demand curves. And so, and it's not even businesses necessarily that use much AC. It's mostly housing. Yeah, if you go study like a substation that has all residential around it, that's where the real impact is. Like when I worked at Springville Stofers, you know, it's a huge plant that makes food and's got refrigeration in that. And they'd be base loading around 10 megawatts and they'd go up to 12 during a hot sunny day, 100-degree day. So they're up about 20%, but a home will go up like 115% in demand. And so we're sizing our equipment to that. And also the power resource response is trying to cover that. And so it's kind of, and we all like our AC. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, I don't care if I pay $200 more in the summer to be cool for those 2 months, you know, but it's kind of, so.
We could charge less if everybody went back to swamp coolers.
Yeah, exactly. And shady trees. Yeah.
Okay. Unless there's other council discussion, I'm ready for.
I think that it would be worth looking into a little bit of like staffing help to stay on top of it and do it more often and less jumps. Just like the truth in taxation, it's the exact same concept.
I think it's a great idea. Travis, we talked about we redid the sewer impact fees like just a year and a half ago. But now that we got the true cost of what that sewer plant is,
it's time to read
a lot higher. So he was gonna try to do that in-house and like I say, then just run it by hand now. We're working on getting to that.
Okay, that's what
Remind me the last time you did power impact fee analysis.
2014. And so that's one of the things too. I mean, you can look at, okay, do we have high growth? That could maybe make it where you do it once a year. Or if you're in an inflationary situation where energy's a lot and the materials are a lot, you might want to do it more often. Or you could spend, you know, some of the electrical stuff stayed not too crazily priced in growth in the past, but it's gone ballistic ever since the COVID pandemic.
The last 3 years has been really
Can I just ask you one question? I mean, this is just a question I'm wondering. So I know when contractors are putting in the AC and the heating, I know that you can talk to almost every one of them. They're not putting in the size that really needs to be there. They're way under, well, they're under. It needs to be higher. So if they have the right capacity heater and AC, would that use less AC? Electricity, it wouldn't.
No, you have bigger compressor and stuff. I don't know, there might be something with, you know, that's an interesting thing, because like at my house, I think my compressor is too small and stuff, you know, so it seems like it's running a little more. So maybe I use more kilowatt hours, but as far as demand, it probably wouldn't change the demand number, but you probably would use
you possibly could use more kilowatt hours.
Public comment. We just finished a study and Utah County has larger homes than the average as well. And so the size of the house has a lot to do with the problems that we're having. One of the items that the governor suggested about affordable housing, we might have to go and change city codes about what the minimum requirements are for the size of homes and the size of lots, and maybe not double garages on things and stuff like that to try to get some affordable housing. But we build big houses. And that's a lot of the usage with the overages.
And I mean, there's really interesting, I always bring this up when people call about panels and things like that, you know, if you use black shingles, your attic temperatures are about 156 degrees in a 90-degree day. And so you're having to offset that, you know, with your insulation in your roof and that, where if you'll use brown shingles, it puts it down to 135-ish on that same 90-degree day. If you go gray, puts it down to about 110. And so they're just things like that people using attic fans really helps. You know, big eaves, I don't know, there's just lots of things, but we do what we do.
I don't think it's just the big houses though. We have big houses, but we also have a significant increase in high density housing, and that's, you know, you have a 4-story apartment building and you've got more people, more air conditioning, so.
The loss of farmlands warms up the city too, so as we start to develop, we lose that.
Yes, man-made material.
Blacktop, roofs. Yeah.
So you may have a bigger house.
Which is
that
good in
takes so
winter
much.
time. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Xeriscape is hot. You need
Yeah.
trees, you need grass to cool things off, but
You
you
can
know, we
check
need
my
to
boat
decrease
on
the,
xeriscaping.
we need to decrease the high density housing, because that is also costing a lot
Here's the
in
thing
electric.
about, I get this all the time when I go to city council meetings. And let me just tell you this. A couple will have 4 or 5 kids. And we passed the law for ADUs, so you're one married couple of your children who live in your basement with their kids. Where's the other 4 going to live? And they can't afford to live in a normal house. They're gonna go to high density housing first and then step up. So that's really the only option, and they're having a hard time making the rent in those. And so, I mean,
We're having a hard time
filling
filling them.
kids, we're open for them, but we can't build things fast enough because we're 350,000 units behind right now, people looking for housing in Utah County alone.
And well, and that begs the question, who are those people and where are they coming
They're your
from as well?
children getting married and having children.
Not always. I think there also is,
It's 60-40.
there are people coming out of other
We're
states
still
too.
at
That's the hard
60,
time.
about 60-40. We're 60 of our own children want to live by grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, and 40% moving in.
So are there very many communities that have gone with smaller lots and lot smaller houses?
That's what they're looking at right now. The governor is.
Yeah, I've said.
And not
this before.
necessarily duplexes.
No, they're not
But we're talking
duplexes.
single family homes.
So you,
Right.
Instead of double garages doing a carport, say for instance. Like they used to in the old days, you know?
but
Nobody
other
wants to
states
do
are
that.
doing that.
Well, that's the problem. We, you know,
They at least
they
want a
want to start
garage.
at the bottom. They want to have what mom and dad has now.
They all do.
That's probably a discussion for another night too, so. Okay, any other questions? Discussion? Not?
So I'll apologize in advance that we waited 10 years to do this, and so we're hitting it all at once. And we will try very hard not to do that in the future, but I will make a motion that we update the impact fees to facilitate for the power and transmission and distribution.
So second?
I'll second
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, roll call vote starting with Council Christensen.
Yes.
Council Hill.
it. Yes.
Council Rowley.
No.
Council Moss.
No, I think we need to modify it.
Council Platt.
I know, because I was thinking the same thing. I think it's just such a huge increase.
Well, the other thing is we can't keep losing.
I know we can't keep losing money, I mean, is there any way they could like cut it somewhere?
It would just take longer to get to the end goal if that was the case. And it's already a 5-year plan.
We're in trouble.
Or we'd have to be paid it out of our general fund.
And we don't wanna keep paying. Is that what we've
It's a
been
hard
doing?
decision.
Is that what we've been doing all this time?
Probably for the last 3 or 4 years where we haven't raised it before, we've probably been taking out our general fund or not doing that.
So how do we let so how do we let our constituents know why it's gonna go up that high? Because
If
people
makes-
need to know this.
This is an impact fee on just new houses, it's not on our
But look at
residents.
people who are trying to get into, you know, we don't have that affordable.
One thing you should know, it comes out of rates. So if you don't take it in an impact fee, those costs transfer back to the people who are paying rates currently.
So this is just for new.
Just for
Right. Yeah.
New people.
Yeah.
And I guess the only adjustment I'd like to see is to keep the high commercial the same and see if we could offset the residential a little bit with the money shifted over there. That's the only change I'd like to see.
I think council wants to do that, but we hired a professional to do that, to study, and it's like we're saying, well, we
This is
don't
what
trust
I'm
your
saying.
numbers, we want our own numbers.
So we're not ready to make this decision.
Or you can make a overt decision that you see those numbers that are made and then do that still possibly.
Do we need a vote or to withdraw?
Okay,
Take whatever we give and then you come.
that's fine. That's what I was thinking. So we have, 2 to 2.
So Teresa needs
Teresa
to.
needs to vote.
So. I'm a yes and a no, that's my plan.
And quite honestly, so am I.
Because I can see, I mean, it will go to new houses. But
Okay,
still, when we get to the affordable. With all these impact fees, that's gonna kill affordable housing, I think.
I think we're,
But I have to say yes, because I don't want it to keep coming out of our budget that other people are paying into. It needs to come out of, I mean, if you're gonna own a house, that's part of owning a house, and
so is your vote yes?
it's yes.
Okay, resolution, the motion carries. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thanks-
Sean. that
thanks,
was so
Mark.
hard.
It's all good.
Thank you, everybody.
It's all right, it's all good. It's all good. That's what we gotta do. Not till this summer, when
No,
in June,
June,
or
see you.
to August 15th, and,
Okay, moving on to number 6. Resolution amendment to the Payson City, fee schedule. Travis?
Here, council, this is based off the last council meeting and what Councilwoman Moss brought up about the fees. So I basically tried to make it as easy as we could, but so that we could actually calculate something, and have them pay it before the permit's issued, rather than try to go backwards and say, hey, you did this, and try to get money out of them after the fact. So we already automatically charged a fee just to fill out the excavation permit. But then we're adding a fee so that if you impact a lane or close a lane, there's gonna be another fee for that. And that, on the application, we ask like, when are you gonna start construction? When are you gonna finish? And then we make them submit a traffic control plan. So Jonathan can calculate that fee right at the beginning. They'll pay that. If they run over time, then they're gonna have to initiate that permit, and then we can charge them again. But the goal is to get them in and get them out of the road as quickly as we can. Obviously, on new development, they're building new roads and they're putting it all in. It's not a big deal because anything in the new area is not affecting our existing roads. But obviously, when they do tie-ins to the existing roads, we want them to get it in and get it back open instead of 3 months later. So 930 West, I did talk to the contractor today. They will be paving on Monday. That's when the paving contractor can come in. They're gonna rip out the existing asphalt that's really bumpy.
So they're gonna fix what they did.
Yes. Yes.
So
but-
you thought this was the same situation right there? Before you hit 198? That took a little bit longer than it should have, because every place I've ever noticed, it's 2 days. They pull it out and then they fill it back up.
Yes.
And they've been.
So
there-
this will definitely be a
I think you
encouragement.
need to do that so that they're encouraged to hurry and get it
Yeah,
done.
because obviously every day that they wanna be in there, they're paying that fee to be there, so.
Yeah.
And it's per lane, so say they have to cross 2 lanes or 3 or whatever that, whatever classification of road it is, then they pay that per lane per day to be there, so. We also have a clause in there, obviously for our own projects or a city celebration, something that would affect a closure. We obviously can waive that, so we're not basically charging ourselves, but that was trying to address kind of what came up, and I agree. I mean, some of these projects, they get in and out, and some they drag it on forever, and so this will allow us to have a better way to kind of have a fee for it.
So that fee is $800?
No, that's if they don't have one, then we hit them pretty hard. And then still make them pay the other fees to get it. But basically, it's $200 to get the permit, and then it's $250 per lane per day that they close it in 100-foot lane, so. And that is up to you and the council if you would like to, but I tried to be reasonable, because if you go too high, you're gonna hear a lot of squawking from them to pay that, but I'm gonna let, if 3 of you want to raise it, go for it.
So here's my reasoning. This has been happening, the reason I brought this up, it's on 930. The main road to the main destination is Payson. So everyone that's going to a wedding, to anything, is having to go through that area, and it's awful, and they've been dragging their feet. It's been how long? Months.
At least 3 months.
I will know, I went through there just before the meeting and then moved everything off. Both lanes were open today. But it's just been bad and rough.
Bad and rough and sporadic.
What we'll do, if we'll present this resolution as is, there's another resolution that's different, or can we include an increase in that resolution?
I would say 500.
My fear is that if I have a sewer main problem in my house and I have to hire a private contractor to come in and they've shut down that road, that comes back to the homeowner. The homeowner is gonna be paying that depending on what it is. So, yeah, but this is big enough that it's gonna hit everybody. That's the tricky part. And $250 a day in this situation per lane, the one in that we're referencing here, that racked up a pretty good bill by now.
Yeah, and I did try to go off kind of what Provo's charging, so I did try to go off what some other cities are looking at, rather than obviously say, oh, they're charging $250, let's go 1,000 and really,
I would love to go with this for a year and see if it helps, because we haven't had anything in the past. So to go and jump so high, and then just say, hey, well, it's not working. Or even if we do it in 6 months from now, it's not working, let's go increase it.
And it's a fine line. We want to get their attention, but we also don't want to disincentivize them, but also we don't want them to pass it on to us when they have bids and
Right.
everything else, so.
But I feel like the city spent money to pay that road already. And then they're ripping it up, and then they make it in several different spots. They need to return it to us in better condition than they came to. Then they found it.
Well, and also
Like they're borrowing it from us.
And it also speaks to, we know who does good work when we work with them, we know who doesn't. And so it's just one of those situations where we find the ones that do put it back how we want it.
Yeah, and unfortunately for private development, we don't get to choose the contractor.
Right.
They obviously, the owner does, so.
So they would be,
But you approve it once they go fix it, then the city approves it.
Yeah, if
So
it doesn't meet our standard, then we obviously are gonna make them tear it out and redo it, but obviously that takes even more time of the road being affected, but obviously we're not gonna accept it if it's junk.
be in good condition. We don't want it to be patchy.
Well,
Okay.
I think it's gonna make the contractor push it fast, like there on Utah Avenue. There was a couple days there that they only worked for like half the day and then they were gone. Where it should have been done in 2 days.
Okay. My opinion is it's where it needs to be, and then we can do what Brett
I think so,
suggested,
too.
and then readjust it.
So right now, it's one lane.
It's per lane.
It's
Per-
early.
Yeah.
No, I mean, right now. what
So like
they're-
right now on 930, he is affecting 2 lanes.
Yeah.
So that would be $500 per day that he would be paying with this way we're doing it.
And And would it be charged to this particular situation now or just future?
We would have to do it in the future where he's almost done, but like I said, this should definitely encourage him not to spend 3 months in the road.
Thank goodness we do not want retroactive government fees.
Originally, he was saying I'll get it done by the end of the month, but
So
it was told to him that it was getting the attention of the city council now, and he didn't, he was surprised. by it.
That's because we didn't have this and we didn't care.
And this is perfect. This is exactly, he got his attention. We're cracking the whip. But if you look at this at $250 a lane to cross 8th South is,
That's a lot of money.
that's $1,500 a day, give or take a little bit. So you're not gonna wanna spend a whole lot of time hanging out on that road. So.
Okay.
Let's
you
do
ready? I'm ready for
I got a question, Travis. So if it's on 8th South, that's a state highway, so do we don't charge.
We still charge them an excavation fee. They also have to get a UDOT permit.
Right.
So in the lane closure, obviously UDOT's gonna have the authority on any of their roads if somebody's cutting into them on that, but yeah. We still do charge them an excavation permit. We probably wouldn't charge them the lane fee because UDOT's gonna hammer them if they're holding them up too much, so.
And they probably wouldn't shut the whole road down in a day either. They do
No.
half of it and then they do the other half.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah, so that they don't kill us and shut our arteries off.
How'd you guys feel raising it to 300?
I'd like to keep it 250.
Let's just see what happens.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to the Payson fee schedule as outlined.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Is there a second?
I'll third it.
Oh, Teresa. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I thirded it.
Okay, we thirded it. Starting with Council Hyatt.
Brian did the
Yes.
first. Ryan.
Council Musk.
I will say yes, contingent upon paying attention to the Easter.
Good.
Yes.
Council Buell.
Yes.
Council Christian.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Travis, one quick side note, 1700 West, is that gonna be fixed like a rumble strip on the side next to the new apartment complex?
Yeah, so I actually made a deal with that developer, which I need to follow up on. That he did, it's called a profilograph, that it's a machine that they drive with on a vehicle that measures how smooth or rough it is. And I made a deal with him that if the road was rougher after he got done than it was before he started, he had to mill and repave the entire part. So I need to remind him of that, and yes, they can do that now that spring's here.
Okay, excellent, thank
So
you.
I have one more question. This is way over here. So with that new Red Bridge, did we make sure that we put in that the parking is free for the people who live there? So we don't have the same thing that happened out there?
That is a lovely question, but I would have to defer to Robert because that would fall under his department.
I'm sorry, we're listening to other fees.
But I doubt we did. I don't know if we could put anything
I
in
mean,
there.
I've been watching that, there's not been a problem, but one time when there was a problem there for about a week, they were doing something in that parking lot. So I've watched it a number of times.
well, because they were charging them to park there.
Well, there hasn't been a problem for a couple of months now.
I think everybody's paying now, but I want to make sure that if you're in an apartment or condominium or something, you have a place to park. Because I didn't like that they came in here and then changed that, and we were not aware of that.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Robert, you really were gone.
I really was paying attention to other meetings.
Okay, so did they have you changed your ordinances so that when they build like multi-family communities, they have a place to park? And they don't have to pay for that place to park because they live there?
We have a specific parking requirement for all types of uses.
We don't want them to have to pay like they did out there at the apartment.
We do not have that specific one, but that is something that you would have to negotiate in a development agreement prior to rezoning.
Is there a new law or something? Every time you get up, I worry.
You cannot tell a private business owner, which apartment complexes, if they're owned by a management company or whoever it is, you cannot tell them how to charge their tenants what rent is and what they can charge or not charge for parking. They just have to meet the minimum requirements for parking under our standards. We cannot impose upon them that they cannot charge for that.
But we can.
But we can make it so they can't park.
We could red curb the entire road and then it would force their tenants to park inside, but they would have to pay.
Can we put in parking meters?
Yeah, but it's.
Or parking meters or
Yeah,
something.
and I think if there's something that starts to become a problem, that's something we need to look at, is a
Yes,
parking
but
meter.
I mean, this has been an issue for quite some time. There's at least one of them I know of. But yeah, we can't do anything about it because it is their property and it's their tenant and they can charge their tenants whatever they want. That includes parking or any other things. They can charge them full utilities and charge them actually more than the utilities really are. They can charge them whatever they want. That's up to them and their tenants, because their tenants sign a contract. I'm not aware of any developer that, like Robert's saying, a development agreement. I don't know that they would actually agree with something like that, because it's capitalism at its finest, if you ask me.
It's like New York,
It is.
and we are not like New York.
Well, I can tell you when I was in college, I was paying for parking just to have a parking spot.
We paid for our apartment, if we wanted to park in the complex, we paid an additional fee to have the car there, and everybody that had a car had it. And it
Many,
just was
many
like,
colleges do it because
Yeah.
parking's at a premium for most places.
and not everybody has a car,
Right.
and so it's,
But the reality is they can do that because we subsidize parking on the street for free. So if you really want to attack that, then yes, we own the street. We can regulate the street however we want to. And if parking is a real issue, then you take it away or you charge for it or whatever. Bearing in mind that there's another street a block over and you're moving it to the next street.
yeah, but then it's not in our backyard.
Just anecdotally, when I lived in Hawaii, the building that I lived in only had like 14 stalls for about 50 apartments, right? And so my wife and I would joke that the street in front of our house was the prime, and then the street next was the first story of our parking garage, and the next story was the second story of our parking garage. And sometimes we had to hike a long way, but that's the reality. The other option that you have as a council is to change the parking requirements. If you feel that parking is not being adequately addressed by the current parking standard, then you can change those requirements and say that an apartment needs to, for each unit, you need to have 3 stalls or whatever that number is. But just bear in mind that every parking stall is going to make that apartment building and that apartment rent substantially more expensive.
Right now, single family homes, their parking requirements are what?
3.
3 per, and that
Per-
doesn't matter what the square footage of the home is.
Correct.
Okay. What's the requirement for multi-family? For apartments and high density.
It can be varied,
So it's not
depending on the type of development. Generally, it's 2.5 or 2.25.
Yeah.
Is that what we did in Redbridge?
That's a little lower. You allowed some parking reductions
Oh,
there.
I didn't.
So that's a car. and a
Well,
motorcycle.
yeah, actually.
What, for example, what about the new apartment complex on the side of the hospital? Any idea what we?
Do you remember what South Haven is?
South Haven, thank you.
For the 3-story set plus is 2.25, for the 55 plus, it was 1.3, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
They
And we have consultants that help us find that number.
Absolutely, because
We're going
Parking-
with it every time.
parking and signs are the bane of every planner's existence. Because it's very difficult to regulate them and it's very difficult to find a metric that works because it's all contextual. You know, sometimes it's absolutely justified to reduce parking because you have other adequate forms of transportation nearby that can supplement that. And that way we can encourage homeownership, or we can encourage more affordable housing rents and stuff like that. Sometimes if you're putting something out in the middle of nowhere, then maybe that parking reduction doesn't make sense. But there's not a real rhyme or reason to it other than we rely on the studies provided to us that say these are the parking counts that make sense for these specific projects. And then our anecdotal evidence that says, I'm sorry, that number just does not work.
Okay.
I apologize for not paying attention to your specific
It's
question.
okay, Robert. We'll forgive you.
It wasn't on the agenda, so.
Clear out there.
Okay, and it was Travis that threw you under the bus.
Yes.
I know, the tracks are still there.
Let's move on to F. Adjourn to redevelopment agency. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen.
Yes.
Council Hewitt, Council Rowley,
Yes.
Council Moss,
Yes.
Council Hart.
Yes.
Okay, now we are directors now, or I should say you are directors. So, number one, resolution review and adopt the RDA fiscal year 2024-2025 tentative budget, which we've already talked about, right?
We went through that in the presentation. We just need to
ratify it.
yeah, adopt the tentative budget for the RDA and set that public hearing.
So I'll take a motion to adopt the 2024-2025 tentative budget for the RDA.
I'll make a motion to adopt the RDA tentative budget for 24-25 and set the public hearing for August 7th.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made, seconded, as directors. Roll call vote, starting with Council Director Hyatt.
Yes.
Director Moss.
Yes.
Director Rowley.
Yes.
Director Yes. And Director Christian.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Motion carries. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn from redevelopment agency.
So moved.
Okay. As directors, roll call votes. Director
Yes.
Christensen, Director Hewitt,
Yes.
Director Rowley.
Yes.
Director Moss.
Yes.
And Director Hyatt.
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned, and then I'll take a motion
Can
to.
I just say
Go ahead.
something?
No, I want to make a motion to adjourn.
No.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And like that. No, what's that little jewelry place down there in our? Did you hear they sold out?
What's that? Who?
Plunder the jewelry.
What? No.
They actually declared bankruptcy and were purchased by someone.
Somebody back in Missouri.
Good. Should know that, but I'll take an adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.